In the history of human endurance, one name stands alone. Poon Lim, a 25-year-old sailor from China, who survived 133 days adrift in the South Atlantic on a wooden raft, 8 feet square, with no food, no fresh water, and no hope of rescue. He watched 3 ships pass within sight. They saw him. They kept sailing. He was given up for dead by his own navy, listed as killed in action. His family held a funeral, but Poon Lim refused to die. This is the true story of the man who survived the impossible, and the dark secret he carried with him for the rest of his life. Poon Lim was born in 1918 in Hainan, China, a small island province in the South China Sea. He grew up poor, the second son of a farming family with 6 brothers and 1 sister. Food was scarce, work was harder, and the sea was the only escape. At 16, Poon Lim left home, walking barefoot for 3 days to reach the British port of Hong Kong. He was looking for work, any work. What he found would change his life forever, and nearly end it. Hong Kong in 1934 was a city of empire. British ships lined the harbor, merchant vessels heading to every corner of the world. Poon Lim spoke no English. He had no education, but he was strong, determined, and willing to work for almost nothing. He started as a cabin boy, the lowest rank on any ship, cleaning toilets, peeling potatoes, sleeping in a closet-sized room below the waterline, for $2 a month. But Poon Lim did not complain. He watched. He learned. And he waited. By 1942, he had risen through the ranks, now a second steward, a respected position, serving meals to officers, managing supplies, earning $20 a month, a fortune by his standards. He had sailed the world, seen ports in India, Africa, South America, and Europe. He was 24 years old, and he believed his hardest days were behind him. He was wrong. November 23, 1942. The British merchant ship SS Ben Lomond was crossing the South Atlantic, bound for New York with a cargo of iron ore, coal, and general supplies. The ship was slow, a steam-powered freighter built in 1922. Maximum speed 11 knots. It traveled alone, no convoy, no naval escort. The captain believed the route was safe. The nearest German U-boat was reported hundreds of miles away. He was wrong. Poon Lim was in the galley, preparing lunch for the 54 crew members. It was just after noon. The sea was calm, the sky clear. Then the torpedo struck, without warning, without sound. The explosion tore through the engine room, killing the firemen and engineers instantly. The ship shuddered, listed to starboard, and began to sink, fast. Poon Lim ran to the deck. What he saw would haunt him forever. The ship was breaking in half. Men were screaming, jumping into the freezing water. The lifeboats were useless. One had been destroyed by the explosion. Another capsized as it hit the water. The third was jammed, stuck in its davits. The crew could not free it, and the ship was going down, fast, in less than 2 minutes. The SS Ben Lomond would be gone, and 54 men would be in the water. Most would not survive the night. Poon Lim did not hesitate. He ran to the stern, where the emergency raft was stored. A wooden structure 8 feet square with canvas sides and a small mast. It was designed for 8 men, for short-term survival, not for 1 man for months at sea. He grabbed it, threw it overboard, and jumped. The water was cold, so cold it burned. He swam to the raft, climbed aboard, and watched his ship die. The SS Ben Lomond sank in 8 minutes. 52 men went with her. Only 2 survived the initial sinking, Poon Lim on his raft and another sailor on a different piece of wreckage. They called to each other, through the smoke and oil, promising to stay together to find rescue. But the current separated them. Within an hour, Poon Lim was alone. The last human voice he would hear for 133 days had just faded into silence. The first hours were the hardest. Poon Lim was in shock, shivering uncontrollably, covered in oil from the sinking ship. His clothes were soaked, his skin was burning, and the raft was barely seaworthy. It had no motor, no sail, no steering, just a wooden box, drifting wherever the current took it. He had no food, No water, no fishing equipment, no flares, no radio. The emergency supplies had been destroyed or lost. He had nothing except his will to live. Night fell, the temperature dropped. Poon Lim huddled in the center of the raft, trying to stay warm, trying not to think about the sharks. He could hear them circling, their fins cutting the surface. The Atlantic Ocean is home to tiger sharks, oceanic whitetips, great whites, all opportunistic feeders, all attracted to blood, and Poon Lim was bleeding. Small cuts from the explosion, scrapes from climbing aboard. The sharks could smell him, he was sure of it, but they did not attack. Not yet. Morning came, the sun rose, and Poon Lim faced his first real challenge: water. The human body can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And the Atlantic Ocean is salt, undrinkable, deadly. He needed rain, or he needed to catch fish and drink their blood. It was his only hope. He began to improvise. The raft had a canvas roof, designed for shade. He rigged it to catch rainwater. Using a metal tin he found floating in the wreckage. The first rain came on day 3. A brief shower, he collected half a cup. It tasted like salvation, but it was not enough. He needed more, much more. Then he turned to the sea. He had no fishing line, no hooks, no bait, so he made them, unraveling threads from the canvas roof, braiding them into cord, shaping nails from the raft's wooden frame into hooks, catching small fish with his bare hands, smashing them, using the guts as bait. It was primitive, it was brutal, and it worked. On day 5, he caught his first real fish. A small Atlantic mackerel. He ate it raw, guts, bones, and all. The taste was foul, the texture worse, but it was food, and it gave him strength, enough strength to keep trying, to keep living one more day. There were 3 ships, 3 chances at life, 3 moments of hope, and 3 moments of crushing despair. The first came on day 43. Poon Lim saw smoke on the horizon, a freighter moving fast. He waved, he screamed. He used his last flare, a small rocket, fired into the air. It worked. The ship saw him. It changed course. It came closer, close enough for him to see the crew on deck, close enough to hear their voices. He wept with joy. He was saved. Then the ship turned away and kept sailing. He never knew why. Perhaps they feared he was a decoy, a German trap. Perhaps they were behind schedule, perhaps they simply did not care, but they left him, alone again with 43 days of survival and nothing to show for it. He wanted to die that night. He considered jumping into the water, letting the sharks take him, but he did not. He tied another knot and waited for morning. The second ship came on day 67. An American patrol vessel, he was sure of it. The flag was clear, the hull number visible. He waved his shirt, tied to an oar. He shouted until his throat bled. They saw him. He knew they saw him. A sailor on deck pointed, binoculars raised, then lowered. The ship kept moving, never slowing, never turning, gone in 20 minutes. Poon Lim did not weep this time. He just stared at the empty horizon and wondered if he was already dead. If this was hell, and the ships were just visions torturing him forever. The third ship came on day 91. A cargo vessel, red hull, white superstructure. He did not wave, he did not shout, he just watched as it passed within 2 miles, close enough to see the wake, close enough to smell the diesel, and he felt nothing, no hope, no despair, just emptiness. He had stopped believing in rescue, he had stopped believing in humanity. There was only the ocean, the fish, the birds, and the raft. That was his world now. That was all that existed. But something changed after the third ship. Poon Lim became angry, not at the sailors who ignored him, but at the ocean, at fate, at death itself. He refused to give it the satisfaction. He would survive, not for rescue, not for his family, but for himself, to prove that one man, one ordinary man, could defeat the infinite, could stare into the void and not blink. He would live out of spite, out of pride, out of pure, stubborn will. And so he did. Days 92 to 133. The final stretch, the hardest test. Poon Lim was dying, slowly, painfully. His body was consuming itself, muscle wasting away. Skin covered in sores, saltwater ulcers, infected, oozing. His eyes were failing. His mind was slipping. He hallucinated constantly, speaking to his dead mother, arguing with his brothers, walking through the streets of his village, eating meals that did not exist. He knew they were not real, but he welcomed them. They were better than reality. The storms came, 3 major systems, each threatening to swamp the raft, to tear it apart, to drown him. He survived by tying himself to the mast, clinging through the night, as waves crashed over him, as lightning split the sky. As the ocean tried to claim what was rightfully hers, he vomited salt water, he swallowed more, he choked, he coughed, he lived. On day 127, the raft began to break. The wooden slats, weakened by sun and salt, started to separate. Water seeped in. The compartment flooded. His dried fish, ruined. His fishing lines, tangled. He spent 3 days repairing, using his own hair as thread, sewing canvas patches, nailing boards together with shards of metal. It was not enough. The raft was dying, and when it died, he would die. But he did not die, because on day 133, April 5th, 1943, 3 Brazilian fishermen in a small boat off the coast of Brazil saw a shape on the horizon. They thought it was debris, driftwood. They approached to investigate and found a man naked, covered in sores, weighing less than 70 pounds, but alive, conscious, speaking. Poon Lim looked at them and said the first words he had spoken to another human being in 4 months. "I am Chinese. I am alive. Thank you." What can we learn from Poon Lim? What does his story teach us? Perhaps this: that the human body is fragile, but the human spirit is not, that we can endure more than we imagine, that routine matters more than heroism, that hope is a choice, not a feeling, and that sometimes the only way to survive is to refuse to die. Poon Lim was not special, not superhuman. He was a cook, a steward, a young man from a poor village who found himself in an impossible situation and simply would not give up. That is his legacy, that is his lesson, and that is why we remember him. If you found this story inspiring, if it moved you, comment below, tell me what you would have done in Poon Lim's place, and tell me who else should I cover next. The world is full of impossible stories, and I intend to tell them all. This is the True Event Archive. Thank you for watching.